Yesterday, we told you of the Belize Sugarcane Farmers Association and their position, where they refuse to accept partial or full responsibility for the losses in molasses at the Belize Sugar Industry. On July 13, the Belize Sugar Industries had issued a statement speaking of the circumstances leading to the Maillard reaction, which is a chemical reaction they believe was triggered by several factors. The two-part release first speaks of their response and collaboration with the Department of the Environment. It reads in part, quote, "On the basis of a review of factors and conditions that can trigger the chemical reaction and our own operational data, it can be concluded that the Maillard reaction in molasses at BSI may be attributed to a combination of factors, including the high levels of reducing sugars in cane, high ambient temperatures during the 2016 crop, and the temperature at which molasses is stored. The research also indicated that once triggered, the reaction is irreversible, and therefore, despite all our efforts, not much can be done to salvage the product and avoid disposal of the affected molasses. BSI is collaborating with the Department of the Environment, DOE, on a plan of action to dispose of the affected molasses in the most efficient and environmentally responsible manner. At this time, it is estimated that 3,900 tons of molasses has been affected and will require disposal. The final tonnage of affected molasses can only be determined once the tanks are emptied and the stock realized. In the meantime, we continue to closely monitor and analyze the quality of molasses in all storage facilities as part of the ongoing assessment to identify any further quantity of affected molasses." End of quote. As it relates to their demand of the cane farmers, the BSI says, quote, "On Wednesday, 20 July 2016, BSI met with farmers and other industry representatives to present the revised cane price estimate that will apply for second payment that will be paid to farmers next week, Wednesday. That meeting, a complement to the usual formal written communication with farmers on revised cane prices estimates, was also to provide further information on the Maillard reaction, the estimate of molasses that has been affected, and to explain the impact on the cane price. In a press release issued by the Belize Sugarcane Farmers Association, BSCFA, earlier this week, following the meeting, the BSCFA reiterated its view that farmers should not share in the financial loss associated with the molasses affected by the Maillard reaction, and that BSI should bear the loss fully. This view is put forward on the basis that the commercial agreement does not provide for this, and the assertion that the Maillard reaction is not attributed to quality of cane. BSI had explained the situation and basis for the treatment of the molasses lost in the cane at the meeting, but given the public statement by the BSCFA, we consider it important to clarify what may otherwise be misleading. The Maillard reaction is indeed a phenomenon, as it is not a common occurrence. Research on the matter, combined with an analysis of our own operational data, has shed some light on factors and conditions that may have contributed to this reaction, which is essentially a reaction between amino acids and reducing sugars. Whilst there are other contributing factors as explained above, it is not correct to assert the quality of the cane is not a factor. It is important to determine as best as possible the contributing factors so that at any proposed solution to reduce the risk of reoccurrence is effective. Given the range of contributing factors, it is clear that an appropriate response will need to include a collaboration of both field and factory on the basis of shared responsibility. The determination of the cane price is commercial matter, governed by the commercial agreement between BSI and the respective Cane Farmers Association. The agreement sets out the calculation of the net stripped value, NSV, of sugar and molasses, which is then shared between farmers and BSI as miller. As per the agreement, the starting point for the calculation of the NSV revenue is gross realized proceeds. The estimated 3,900 tons of molasses that was lost as a consequence of the Maillard reaction will not be available for sale, so there will be no proceeds realized for this molasses. It is not a deduction from the price, but rather a lost opportunity to realize proceeds from its sale. The fundamental principle underlying that cane price calculation is a sharing of the value desired from the sale of sugar and molasses both in the local and export markets. This extends to a sharing of both gains and losses. The sharing of the loss consequent to the affected molasses is completely within the scope of the commercial agreement. BSI has also suffered a significant loss as a consequence of this occurrence. Besides the loss of its share of NSV revenues, BSI is bearing fully the cost associated with the handling and disposal of the molasses based on the DOE guidelines to safeguard the environment. BSI is equally disappointed at the Millard reaction occurrence and its financial effect, particularly given the drop in prices realized this crop. It is, however, unhelpful to point fingers when in fact it must be viewed as an opportunity to learn from and work together as an industry on solutions with a sense of shared responsibility. End of quote.